Good afternoon, guys. My name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. And today we're going to have our live. We're going to discuss the most recent immigration news. Divided courts, divided over Biden's administration ability or discretion or power to focus their attention on specific enforcement with regard to immigration. Believe it or not, the courts are divided here. We're going to discuss what's happening with DACA. And I'm going to give you some other updates with regard to the most interesting immigration happenings. So thank you very much for watching me. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm a practicing attorney. I handle mostly immigration cases in all 50 states. And I do help people overseas who are interested in the United States immigration. And, let's start. I see people joining. Please let me know where you're watching from. Don't forget to type up your questions. I'm going to be able to answer some of them, not all of them. If we have too many, some of them. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello. Hi, Eric. And we're going to start. Hi, RT. I mean, listen, interesting things are happening in the United States immigration. I have to tell you. Check this out. I feel like it's more timeline of events. Sometimes it's more interesting than any series you're going to watch. On July 5th, Sixth Circuit. It's a federal court of appeals, Sixth Circuit, a little bit higher than initial federal court, held that basically a federal judge from Ohio should not have blocked the Biden administration from focusing their enforcement priorities on those who committed serious crimes. And hence, the nationwide injunction on implementation of the enforcement priorities memo was lifted. That happened on July 5th, Sixth Circuit. One day after this, the next day, the Fifth Circuit made a decision in a very similar case that also is dealing with enforcement priorities, but the decision was different. The Fifth Circuit stated that it will not lift the injunction on implementation of the Biden's enforcement priorities. And we're referring to the memo of September 2021, when the Biden administration stated sufficiently that they're not going to deporting everybody. They're going to be focusing on only those who committed serious offenses, who present threat to the public, national security, maybe committed fraud, some serious fraud, and so on and so forth. So it seems that because the decision from the Fifth Circuit came a day later, the enforcement priorities memo is under injunction nationwide. So we have a split between the courts. We have a split in the ways judges look at the issue. And I have to tell you that it's not only true for this particular issue, it happens in immigration very often. I keep thinking and I keep talking to you guys about asylum, for example, cases. Sometimes you read the court's decisions and you're wondering, how did this happen? Why in one case asylum will be granted, in another case on the very similar facts it will be denied? Because lawyers have different opinions, judges have different opinions, people have different opinions. So unfortunately or fortunately, law arguments can be very subjective, not only objective, but subjective as well. And that's where the lawyers, I guess, immigration lawyers become very helpful. That's why we have room for advocacy. That's why we have room to try to persuade this particular judge that this particular client should get the relief. But on the other hand, as I said, that if you draw a judge who disagrees, you will be in a tough situation, right? So you have to, whenever you have a court case, you have to be prepared for the worst possible outcome, the toughest possible judge and the toughest possible prosecutor, but hope for the best. But that's what's happening, right? It's very interesting, at least to me as an attorney. It's interesting to watch this drama unfold. We're going to see what's going to happen in the end. Will this case go to the US Supreme Court? I mean, it may, I guess, if there is a circuit split, somebody has to decide the situation. Then we have an update on DACA. Those of you who have DACA, those of you who filed for DACA and do not have it, because as you recall, a judge from Texas, federal judge from Texas, blocked new DACA applications. New DACA applications can be filed, but cannot be granted, right? And if the DACA will exist moving forward depends on this case that I'm going to be talking about right now. This case is being, or was heard, the arguments for this case, another court case, were heard yesterday in the Fifth Circuit Court. The same court that took a position that Biden's administration's enforcement priorities should not be implemented as of now. So we're dealing with a very conservative court here. And this DACA's face is on the line here. Basically, what's happening there is that the government now, in that particular lawsuit, argues that the government had jurisdiction to proceed with DACA as executive action, and that the suing states don't have standing, meaning they don't have any injury. They didn't suffer any harm from DACA, and for that reason, their lawsuit should be thrown out completely. But it seems, at least the media reports and reports of different analysts who analyze the questions, the arguments, that the Fifth Circuit may be very conservative and the DACA may be overruled. Of course, the impact of such a ruling would be tremendous. I hope it's not going to happen. We do not know what the decision is going to be, but it's definitely something for you. If it's relevant to you, it's something worth following. All I can tell you that for now, DACA status exists. It hasn't been canceled. If you have an opportunity to file for advanced parole, if you have not done so, you should absolutely use it, just because nobody knows what's going to happen, right? So that's another update from another court. And as you see, conservative courts, they don't rule sometimes in the immigrants' favor, and you have to be prepared for that. So one more update I wanted to deliver to you is basically those of you who are holding TPS status from Venezuela, you guys have to watch out. DHS has until July 11th to extend TPS status, temporary protected status, so that you will be able to file for extension of your work permits and your status. I anticipate that other countries recently designated will have the same issue soon, because those who were initially designated and their TPS designation is expiring are worried what's going to happen to them, right? And Biden administration so far has been dragging their feet with that. We'll see what's going to happen. We'll have like a couple of days basically left to see what's going to happen, but you have to stay on top of that. I hope that Venezuela is going to be redesignated. Why? Because if you look at asylum statistics, the absolute majority of new asylum applications are filed by the nationals of Venezuela. It means that there is a tremendous demand. It means that the situation there has not been better. And it means that the designation should be renewed. So these are the latest news I wanted to share with you for now. I also wanted to give you a piece of advice unrelated necessarily to this particular news. I actually had a short video done and published today on my website. It's about social media. Well, it's maybe related just because it's related to courts' decisions. Recently, on June 30th, I believe, there was a case from the Board of Immigration Appeals, a very sad case for at least one person who lost his appeal due to social media. I'm not sure what happened there, whether the person lied or person was truthful but couldn't prove their point. Social media can be manipulated. I know that somebody can hack into your account. Somebody other than yourself may have access to it. For example, you left your phone in somewhere else and your boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, just a random person grabbed your phone, didn't have a password. They started posting something on your behalf. But here is the thing. Whenever you file for immigration benefits, it's especially true nowadays. Be ready that the government is going to research your background, and all public information will be sucked out of the internet and your social media posts as well. And if they contradict to what you are claiming in your applications, you're going to be found to be uncredible. And whatever else you're saying there will be very hard to prove. If, like in the case at stake, the prosecutor found that a person was posting online when the person said he did not have any ability to do so, it's not surprising that the judge immediately found the person to lack credibility with his explanation that someone else took over his social media account. So be mindful of that. Just be mindful of that, okay? I think it's very important to know that this is not the first time that I've heard of social media hurting someone badly, okay? Now let's go to our questions. Hi, Tamiola. Hi, Opi. Hi, watching from New Jersey. Hello. Hi, Manoj. Hi, Lena. I'm from Chicago. After you're done with the topic, please let us know about U visa processing time and BFD status. What can I tell you about this? Just a little bit of explanation here. What we're talking about is that applicants for the U visa were allowed to have employment authorizations while the applications are pending. Correct, yes. But the mechanics of that are as following. You have to wait for the government to review your case and issue to you a bona fide letter. Basically, they just have to determine that your application has merit, okay? All right. But there is a tremendous backlog of those applications, 5 years plus. So according to my information, they issue such letters to those applications for U visa that were filed in June of 2017. That's what, 5 years ago. So the process is kind of very slow. And that's where we stand with that. You just have to wait. Some people asking me, may I expedite this somehow? I don't think so. I have not found any legal proven way to expedite the issuance of that determination that would allow you to file based on a pending U visa for a work permit. If you've been successful, let us know. Maybe somebody else may benefit from it, but I do not know of such a way. Okay. Hi, Karens. Can a person living in the United States that has overstayed participate in diversity lottery? Guys, anyone can participate in diversity lottery, but will you be able to do something with a diversity lottery if you win or when you win? It's a different question. It's going to depend on, for example, what you overstayed, what kind of visa you overstayed. If you overstayed F1, M1, J1 visas that do not cause accumulation of unlawful presence after you overstay, you will be able, most likely, without a waiver, take advantage of the diversity visa lottery, but you will have to travel overseas. If you qualify for a waiver, I-601A waiver, you also may try to use, you also may be able to benefit from diversity lottery win. But many people will not be able to, because once your lawful non-immigrant status expires in the United States, you cannot adjust status in the United States unless very specific conditions apply. For example, you're being sponsored by a US citizen spouse or child who is over 21. You qualified for U visa, VOW or self-petition, employment-based visas. It's not going to be possible, okay? Unless 245K applies, which is like only 180 days of violations will be forgiven to you. But they counted, interestingly enough, so most likely most people will not be able to in the United States to take advantage of DV lottery adjustment. Hi, sweet lady. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for joining. Is there high true wisdom? Is there still a backlog for green cards outside the United States? There is always a backlog. It depends on the visa category, right? What happens is that some visa categories are backlogged. I mean, that's why we have priority dates, and some visa categories are always available for immediate relatives, but we still have to deal with processing times. Okay, processing times is just the time that USCIS takes to take a look at your case. And then we have priority dates. Priority dates is the line in which you have to stand and wait until everybody else before you is going to receive the visa. So two different things. For a regular person, probably doesn't have any difference because you still have to sit and wait, right? But yes, there is a backlog. There always will be a backlog in certain categories. You cannot eliminate it. Unless, of course, remember, they wanted to pass this law where for a fee, you will be able to cut the line. But they haven't passed anything. Hi, Eric. I have medical proof. Wait, your question jumped. I have medical proof to expedite my documents. It's actually on JPG format. If I translate that and do notary, can USS accept it or they'll request for original one? Eric, in the United States, when you file your paperwork with United States government, immigration, you do not have to present originals, only copies. But those have to be true copies because the government always reserves the right to request originals for examination. So we never file originals, okay? You always file copies, but you have to keep originals, and please do not alter them in any way, all right? Not to create troubles for you, but no, you don't have to give up your original unless it's requested. Okay, so usually you would have a copy of the original document, translation, and certificate of translation. It's very important. Okay, certificate of translation. Hello, can you apply for a green card after 10 years with asylum pending, entered legally in the United States with no crime? Just because you were waiting for 10 years after you filed your asylum, you cannot file for a green card. Nope. Some people may qualify for cancellation of removal if They accumulated legally 10 years in the United States. Now they're placed in removal proceedings. They have a qualifying relative. They can demonstrate extreme hardship to that relative in case of their removal. But you still will have to wait for about 3 years, even if your case is granted, to receive your green card. That's how it works, okay? But just because you've been waiting for forever for your asylum to be resolved, that unfortunately does not allow you to file for the green card. Yeah. Hi, Equity Justice. Should DACA recipients use the online application to renew or mail a paper application? Have you seen any problems with online application process? I'll be honest with you guys. I never use online application. Some people like it. Sometimes maybe when you are under pressure to meet a deadline, you do that. I never, ever use it. Why? Because I don't trust it. I like to have my paper confirmation. I like to know that I used the more conservative procedure. I think once we tried to do something online and it didn't work out the way I wanted to, and I said, you know what, it's double work and I do not want to deal with it. But that's my opinion. Maybe some lawyers will say that they love it. I don't know. Hi, Mido Dido. Is there immigration reform deal this year or never? I do not know. I read something very disturbing, actually, to be honest with you. I'm going to share this with you. Maybe I shouldn't. Well, what I read is that apparently, and I do not know if it's just a rumor, the White House is not considering executive action so that Republicans will continue engaging in some kind of negotiations with them over immigration reform. And that's disturbing because, first of all, I don't believe that Republicans and Democrats will agree on any immigration reform anytime soon. And second is that I don't think that the White House should be operating based on the fear of Republicans, not agreeing to something. They should be operating on the needs of the public, rather. I read it on Twitter and I said, I do not know if it's true or not. Maybe it's just rumors. But if it's not, it's a sad situation for us. It doesn't seem that anything is coming this year. But maybe I'm going to be wrong. It's going to be wonderful if I'm wrong. Hi, Tamilo. Is it possible to refile I-45 after getting a denial and prompt to leave the country? Possible. It depends on why you received the denial and who was sponsoring you in the first place. Okay. In some categories, refiling will be futile. Why? Because you will not be able to show you maintained your lawful non-immigrant status throughout the necessary time. If it's based on marriage to a US citizen and you can prove that the marriage is real, then you can refile. Okay. Sometimes people get denials because they didn't answer affidavit of support request for more evidence. Perfect case to be refiled. Sometimes they receive denials because they missed interview. Perfect case to be refiled. Okay. Interview and based on marriage-based cases. So it depends. Hi, I'm in. Can a green card hold a parent? Sponsor a child who came here and attended high school and now in college. Would the child be able to stay here and be processed without leaving the United States? Well, you see, the green card holder parent can sponsor somebody, their child, whether they're under 21 or above, if the child is unmarried. First. Second, the child has to demonstrate that the child maintained lawful non-immigrant status throughout the time they can file for adjustment of status. So then it's going to work. Okay. For the child to receive green card in the United States without leaving the United States. Otherwise, the green card holder parent can still file a petition for unmarried child. But then the family will have to consult with an attorney to see how the child will be able to benefit from that petition. There may be a need for a waiver. Okay. Hi, Laura. Hello, TPS holder has traveled with advanced parole twice. Can they adjust status to permanent residence through the job sponsorship? Thank you for answering. Laura, I don't know. It depends. I would say that most TPS holders will not be able to. Some may be able to. It depends on when they receive TPS, if they have some immigration violations or not, and so on and so forth. Why? Because everybody, anyone qualifies for TPS, apart from people who committed some serious crimes. Okay. But not everyone out of those people will qualify for adjustment of status. Legal entry is only one requirement, and then there are tons of other requirements. So I will not be able to tell you based on this. Also, I would suggest that you consult with an attorney if this is your question, okay? And you present them your immigration history, potentially criminal history, and see if it's going to be possible. In certain very narrow situations, it may be possible, but not always. Hi, True Wisdom. Eileen, I've been trying to reach your office to start my process. Oh, so come on, call us, 917-885-2261. But here how it works. You will have to first book an appointment so we can review your case and see if we can help you, right? Not everybody has a solution, guys. You know, I am trying to think through every case, trying to be very careful in my judgments, but not everyone. It's the truth. Sometimes, you know, I talk to people and I feel so bad for them because they meet some lawyers, paralegals, whoever, I don't know, who charge them money for something that will never work. And I know it will never work. So I never do that. And I always am truthful with you in my assessments. Okay. You're welcome, Laura. You're welcome, Amen. Laura, my consultation price is published on the description to about me. You know, that's everything's there. Hi, True Wisdom. I live in Mexico. I have a 21-year-old citizen daughter. That's good. Good. But have you ever been in the United States? Maybe, right? Have you ever been deported? Have you ever been charged with anything? Have you ever claimed to be a US citizen? And so on and so forth. So we need to talk through all of that before we start anything. Because one of the things, for example, that will permanently disqualify somebody from a green card in the United States is a claim of US citizenship, guys. Do not ever make this mistake, please. Some people file for driver's license. Usually it happens in two ways. You file for driver's license. You feel that you must have the driver's license. And you put that you are a citizen on that application. The government will know. How? Because in those states, it is required that you be a US citizen. Otherwise, you would not receive the driver's license. You see the problem? So the government will know that you claim to be a US citizen. Or you found the job of your dreams, but they ask you to file something called Form I-9. And what do? You check all that box that you're a US citizen. And the government will know. Because when you file for something, you have to disclose your work history. There is also something called Statement of Social Security Earnings. With any background check, people will see. Sometimes the company that you work for is undergoing an audit. And what happens is that they pull out everybody's records and your record there too. 5 years later, you file for something, you think they will not know. But they will know. So don't do that. Okay, very important. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Equity. Very nice hearing, nice words. How to get a copy of past driver's license application and records, I-9 records. I-9 records are kept by the company for a number of years, I believe 3 years if I'm not mistaken. But the problem is this: if the company went through the audit and the government sucked it out, The government, federal government is going to have that. And for your driver's license records, well, you should remember, right, where you filed for your driver's license. What the applications for the driver's license, that I truthfully will not know. I think the local DMVs are going to have those. I mean, you have a concern, consult with an attorney, in private. This is something I wanted to talk to you about after we are done. When you are participating in life situations like we have right now, right? It seems to be very intimate and confidential, but it's not. It's actually a recording, first of all. And second, it's available to anybody. So even though sometimes you don't use your real name, you use, a nickname, do not put any confidential information, okay? Something that may incriminate you, for example, where a person says, I did this and that, I crossed the border. Don't do that. Why? I'm going to tell you that in the United States, and I'm sure everywhere else in the world, there are programs that may suck out all social activity that you have online for you very easily. And that's available, absolutely available to the federal government. So I hope my page is not used for those purposes, but I do not know, right? I cannot prohibit anybody, including government, watching the program. And for other attorneys, it's true as well, guys. All right. So please do not share confidential information that you wouldn't be comfortable screaming out there. Don't share. Remember, things like crossing the border is a crime. Okay, technically it's a crime. Don't reveal it publicly, please. If you have a concern about that, consult with an attorney in private. All right. Forging documents. I use someone else's social security. I did. Don't. Okay. Any ethical lawyer will tell you that remove also those statements. You have a right not to testify against yourself. Remember that and use that right in the United States. Okay. That's probably like the best advice ever. And no, whatever you put online is available to everyone to see. Hi, sweet lady, you are truthful. We can feel it, and whoever watch can tell you really know what you're talking about. That's why we like you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's very, very, very nice. Yes, I do enjoy giving you advice, guys. And immigration system in the United States is absolutely complicated. As you see, it's getting more complicated every day, where one court says one thing and literally the next day another court says the opposite thing, and you're just sitting as trying to piece the things together and see like how we're going to resolve this puzzle. And sometimes the problem is that real people's lives depend on those decisions, those fights in courts. Like, what do I do? How do I ask for prosecutorial discretion? Do I just phrase it generally, or do I cite the memo? So currently what you do, you don't cite any memos, but thankfully prosecutors are still exercising their discretion. We just had another case. We were able to close another case or agree to close another case despite all those fights in courts. So it's very important to know about them, to be prepared. And for an attorney, what's important is to correctly phrase their requests and act with accordance of all these court decisions, so that you will not put a judge or a prosecutor in a position where they will be uncomfortable discussing your request because of all these decisions, because they will feel they may be overruled because of those decisions. You have to know that. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. It was a pleasure as always. Please like, share this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not done so, and I hope to see you soon.